Welcome to another edition of the Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. All right, guys, this is zero waste-ish practices. Some of them are not completely zero waste. We are reusing things from the recycling from garbage cans, repurposing, pellets and stuff like that. So some of it was produced, but we are reusing it. And some of them are just ish, so let's just jump right into it. I'm just going to run through a couple of lists, or a long list that I have here as quickly as I can, just to give you some guys ideas of what exactly it is that I do. And I would love to find out from you guys what your zero waste practice-ish, your zero-ish practices is. So let's jump in. Opt out of printing receipts. So when I go to get my gas, that's one thing that I do is, would you like a receipt? No. I already have everything for digital banking. I don't need a piece of paper. Why is this significant to me? Is because every single branch, every single log, basically branches aren't even used. There's this machine that comes and grabs a tree, literally like a 50-foot tree. It just reaches out, grabs it. A chainsaw, a large saw, cuts it. They've removed a guy from having to do this sort of stuff. It'll come over, it'll turn the tree sideways, and literally with a conveyor, like this little belt thing, just go rip all the branches off, which fall into the ground, and to my knowledge aren't even used. This machine will literally cut off chunks of this log while another arm will come out, grab it, and just load it onto a truck, and they can do just acres. And the significance of this, and that little receipt, that adds up to all the other receipts you have, is that this log is it's like peeled. It just spins on this little machine, and that's how they make paper. Ever interested? Look how paper is made, and you can imagine throughout your lifetime. I would say if I could save one tree that's 100 or 500 years old, if I could save a quarter of a tree from being chopped down by not getting receipts, I think that I've actually won the life lottery myself. So think about not getting receipts, just print them. I'm sorry, don't print them, get them emailed. My next one is a glass mason jar, drinking water. You guys want to be careful with such stuff as stainless steel. It even, from what I've heard, it actually releases certain amounts of cobalt. And that's everything leaches, guys. Every single thing leaches. The only thing that I think that, to my knowledge, it doesn't is glass, and that's the significance of it. But there's something strange about water as a magnet. And put a glass of water, try water, your drinking water, put some in stainless steel, put some in glass, let it sit there in your fridge for a day, and then drink them, and tell me that you don't taste or feel something different about it. In the glass, everything seems so much more pure. Wine, beer, right? Champagne, everything tastes so much better. Soda just tastes, when I used to drink sodas in a glass, so good. So one way to save the planet is that these plastic water bottles are driving me insane. I'm one of those eco guys, and when I see them just thrown around everywhere, floating in water on the side of the road, in the streams, it drives me up the wall. Like, guys, get a glass mason jar. It can get heated in your car. You can come back the next day. Guess what? Not even going to taste any different. Leave a plastic water bottle in the car in summertime, or even mid temperatures around 70 degrees, 80 degrees. Taste it in the morning and tell me you don't taste the difference. Okay. Next one is vegetable oil for a chainsaw. Yes, for lubrication on a chainsaw. When you're done frying foods or stuff like that, or even if you're going to cut wood for burning in your home, in your fireplace, why would you want used motor oil, or even just motor oil in general, lubrication oil? Why don't you put something that you can actually eat, right? Because if the wood's smoking over your barbecue, say your steaks and stuff like that, I would much rather have, and I know some of you are going to say that certain oils like seed oils stuff are actually toxic when they're burned at certain temperatures, but I would say that they're a lot less toxic than something that's like designed for like a motor, right? I think it's a little better. But for those of you who don't know, when a chain around a chainsaw is going, it needs lubrication so it doesn't get hot, it doesn't stick, and it actually cuts through the wood a little better. Now, it'll keep you from having to sharpen your blade so much. So using vegetable oil I used it for years. It did not bog up my chainsaw, didn't mess up anything, and we just zipped right through stuff. And besides the fact, too, is that when you're using oil, it actually spits a lot on the ground, out of the chain. What I've learned when I converted to vegetable oil is I'd take a chainsaw and put the tip right in front of a piece of cardboard and let it rip, and you would see little droplets of motor oil just splattering everywhere. So no bueno in my book. Lemon water and deodorant. So I've spoke about this one before. My routine usually in the morning or at nighttime is to drink a half a lemon, squeeze inside some water, either some mineral water or just regular old water. I drink that. That helps to purify my body, keep everything regular. And instead of throwing the lemon away, what I do is I squeeze a little bit out till like the inside, the fruit's kind of out, and I wipe my armpits with it. And the acids from that actually kills bacteria way better. It doesn't mask the odor that you have inside your armpits, right? This naturally has an antibacterial that will instantly kill it, and it'll last pretty much. If you do this every day in the morning or even at nighttime, your armpits, right now I'm smelling both my armpits and I've got nothing. I've got no scent. So repurposing, you could even take the rind off the top if you wanted to, like shave all the yellow stuff off the outer skin. You could actually save that to make lemon zang tea before you squeeze it into your armpits. Of course, you got to get these in proportions, right? There's a numeral, like shave off the yellow stuff and put that into a jar, then squeeze the rest of it in your armpits, not vice versa. All right, next, cast iron pans. Do I even need to say anything about cast iron pans, guys? The nonstick pans are cancer causing, especially for women, for breast cancer, right? From what I hear, for everybody. It's just a bad thing and it's not very sustainable. Cast iron pans, when they're oiled right, cook some bacon in it or season it right. If you're vegetarian, use some seed oil or some coconut oil and keep that thing seasoned. Every time you're done using it, like if you do eggs or something, if it's seasoned really nice, you can literally just scrape the eggs off. I did this for years and never even washed it, right? I just scraped the whole inside, and then what I would do is leave the fire on, return I'd wipe it out with like a rag or a paper towel or something, put it back over the fire until it got really nice and hot, or over the flame, the gas flame, get it nice and hot, add in a little bit more oil and wipe it all around the top. This will get a little bit more of the residuals, and you'll see that you can use just a little bit of oil every time, just a tiny, like just a few drops until everything comes out clean, and it basically sterilizes the same as you would a barbecue grill, right? You don't have to sit there and wash your barbecue grill with water or soap, right? But if you need to, if there is stuff stuck, you can take it, and you don't want to use soap because you're going to mess up the oil, the seal on there. You want to take I get myself one of those SOS pads, the green scrubby pads, and I'll just put some water and I'll scrub the whole inside out real well. If you do it right away after you're done cooking like eggs or anything that's stuck to it, everything will come off. Use just water, take it and heat it up on the stove till it gets nice and hot. Put yourself a little bit of oil, probably instantly start smoking, shut it off, wipe the whole thing down, and stick it in the oven or stick it on your grill like I do. And guys, it's actually not, it's maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds longer than it takes to wash a regular old frying pan. And wok is my next one. Woks are awesome. For those of you who don't know, that's the Asian cooking dish, the frying pans. Either they have a round bottom or a little square bottom. I got the square so I can cook on my grill. And there's so many uses. You can do stir fries, and it's a very thin metal. And same thing, as long as you keep the outside and the inside finely greased, you'll have this thing for the rest of your life. You'll pay like $80 to $120, $150 for one, give or take. But it's carbon steel, hand hammered, and these things, like I said, you can make. I make Thai food out of it. I'll do like Asian stir fries, like beef and broccoli, or coconut curries, and like there's curries is like one of my biggest ones. I've been trying to introduce is vegetables and meats and stuff like that. And you can make soups. You can defend yourself with it, right? You could put it over your face when someone's talking, you don't want to see them. You could put it on your head on a rainy day. Next one is stainless steel dishes, bowls, obviously silverware, but my plates, my bowls, they're all stainless steel. They're not glass, they're not wood. Stainless steel, buy it once, you will have them for the rest of your life. You can literally heat stuff over a fire with them if you had to in an emergency preparation situation. But guys, you can cut, on your plates, you cut with a knife, you're not going to mess up the wood bowl or the wood plates. You're not going to crack it if it's glass or clay. And, making your stuff from the earth is pretty cool. I think clay and stuff like that. But, if they break, they break. You got to make more stuff. And when there's so many things that we need to do in our lives, let's just buy stainless steel. Let's make the investment once and just be done with it. Next one is stainless steel mason jar lids. Now, for those of you watching, this is my stainless steel straw, of course, which I use for everything. But I do have a plastic lid on the top right now. It's BPA free. It's got a non-spill lid. The inner part of this is a gray lid made by Ball leak-proof lids. They're really cool. I can turn this thing sideways. You guys can see, plug the hole. Nothing's, for those of you watching, might as well wet the whistle. But I had to use that to drill up a hole and make my own. Maybe I could sell these things online for like $5 a pop or something. It's a wide mouth jar, but anyways, Stainless steel jar lids for everything else, like my smoothies and stuff like that. Those plastic ones, they end up cracking, the white ones, the BPA. If you stack something on top of each other and you're driving, like I have a solar powered fridge in the back of my truck, these things they're not breaking all the time, but they do break, and then they end up leaking all over your fridge and stuff like that. And plus they're plastic. And BPA means that, and these things last so long, they probably just did some other chemical just to switch stuff up. For those of you who don't know, a lot of plastic companies with their chemicals are grandfathered in. Maybe they'll just stop using one ingredient but using another that's just equally as toxic, or they'll do some experiments and use something that hasn't been tested to be toxic to human beings, and still nobody has any idea if it is, but nobody's asking, so why should we ask any questions? We're just going to start producing this anti-BPA stuff. But we're not talking about NP. I'm just making up stuff here, right? I don't know. They're all crazy. I don't trust them. But the one thing you can do is get the stainless steel reusable lids. And I tried these things. The only thing you'll have to replace is this little silicone gasket that goes so that they are leak proof if you need them to be leak proof. But these things will last for years. A lot less pollution than and waste than plastic. We are not gonna. My list is just going on, and I can't believe I wrote so many here. I need to know from you guys what you guys do, if you guys are even interested in this type of show. Maybe I'll do a part 2. Separating recyclables such as batteries, little batteries, AA, AAA, DC batteries, right? For those of you who don't know, the landfills, when the trash guy comes to pick up your goods. I know we have listeners from all over the world, but here in the United States, they come and they pick up the garbage. They'll pick up the green waste like trees and branches, and then they'll also do recyclables. And they'll haul that off, and all that goes into a conveyor belt. And there's people or robots, whatever they have now, that can detect. It makes it a lot easier, instead of these little batteries floating around, that if you put them inside of a clear like a Ziploc. Now I know we're using more plastic, but just think about those batteries falling off the conveyor belt or being lost somewhere on transport. Whereas if you just filled up an entire bag of these things, and once they're coming on the conveyor belt, they can see that those are batteries and they just grab the whole bag. Why couldn't you not take all of your water bottles as well? In my opinion, put them also in a clear plastic bag. And again, I know we're buying more plastic bags, but think about what we're saving by sorting everything out or before we put them in the trash. So that's that lot less work at the end of the gate. A lot of that stuff too, as if you guys don't know, doesn't make the cut, right? It starts passing by. They can't get everything. So a lot of waste gets wasted because it's just, we can't get 100%. So we can do our part to help by separating stuff ourselves and maybe kind of making it a little easier. If you got newspaper or something, maybe tie it all up in a bundle first and then drop it in there, right? Little things like that. My next one is shampoo-less. I think they call this poo-less. I'm going to give credit towards Paul Wheaton at thepermies.com. I was listening about 5 years ago to one of his podcasts, and it was poo-less, and basically not using shampoo or soap or anything. And I was like, except for if you're a worker. I am in construction, I have to use soap. But I'll tell you what I've done. I did an experiment. For those of you watching too, you can see my Q-tip head. I don't have hair. I shave my head. So what I've done is I don't wash my face. I don't wash my head. I don't. The only thing I wash is the privies, the feet, and the armpits. And basically what's happened is my skin, I notice a lot of people getting the dry. Now I get it every once in a while, when the Santa Ana winds come in, just very slightly. But what happens is that natural oil on your skin starts to develop when you just use hot water to wash yourself. Now it's not like I don't wash myself, right? I just don't use soap. I'll wash with hot water around my eyes and everything. There's like greasy spots. I know I'm going in gross details for some of you guys. Behind the ears, really scrub really well. And all around your arms, your legs and everything. And then use the soap for the stinky parts, basically. And I've been doing that for a really long time. And my skin doesn't stink. I've asked other people, my significant other when I had one, smell my arm. Does it stink? No, it actually smells kind of sweet, musky, kind of, I guess your diet has something to do with it too. But guys, it's an option out there where you can wash your hair with apple cider vinegar, rinse it out. There's some different aloe vera gel, I think, and stuff like that. There's different things that we can do. And besides the fact that, let's just talk, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, if memory serves me correct, bubbles does not mean clean. Bubbles are added to dish soaps and stuff like that. The soap is soap, actually. Now, if you take Dr. Bronner's soap or natural soaps and stuff, and you look at it, I forgot, it was when you mix lye with ash, you get this sort of soap. It needs to do a couple extra things besides that, but soap is actually something that should kill bacteria, or it's a degreaser. Doesn't necessarily have to have bubbles. So just because you're getting bubbles doesn't mean that you're getting clean. I think it's glycerin or something that they add to make the bubbles. Somebody leave it maybe in the comment down below. But yeah, the bubbles mean nothing about being clean, guys. Just for reference. Zero waste is Fresnel lens. We talked about that emergency preparedness. Fresnel lens is basically like this giant lens that you can use like a magnifying glass, and what it does is concentrate the prism of light into this laser beam that will literally start melting rock, right? It'll start melting rock. You can use this on steel. You can cook with it. You can start a steam motor. There's many things that we can do. Mine basically is to, I don't have one right now. I've started messing around with them. I think I had a big giant magnifying glass off an old TV from like the 60s or something that I was messing around with. And yeah, you got to be careful. This thing is a laser beam. Like, you mess up, like, forget about it. It'll light like stuff on fire and you'll burn your whole house down or your yard. Fresnel lenses are pretty cool, just harnessing basically the sunlight, which also is solar cookers. I have my opinions about cooking stuff in plastic, but let's leave that aside right now. But solar cookers are out there, and it's basically the same thing. It's a metal box with a glass lid, and then it's got these reflectors that go all the way around, like you can imagine a big giant satellite or like a flower, and basically takes all the prism of lights, goes down inside this dark colored box and heats it up like an oven. You can make cakes, roasts, all kinds of different things. Yeah, refillable pens is another one. I'll bet you a lot of you guys didn't know that. A lot of those pens you use to sign business deals and stuff like that. You can literally buy pens and they have refillable parts instead of buying the Bic, throwaway pens that we find all the time that don't even really last that long. And we can get rid of these. We can start using a stainless steel. You can get a gold color, a pink color, whatever you want, and just buy the inserts that go inside. Now, I've been looking, but I haven't done extensively, trying to find for the colored dry erase marker boards and stuff like that. But I'll look into that. If I do ever find it one day, I would like to create a website with this kind of stuff that I find, zero waste-ish practices that I actually use and endorse, and bring that on to the website. So if you guys ever are curious and want to do your part to be zero waste or to help the planet, you can just go on there and find those brands and go for it. All right, my next one is the BCG gardening, which is biodegradable container gardening. I am the inventor of this type of thing, and I just wanted to run it by you guys real quick because it's one of the things I'm very proud about, is about zero waste. Yes, I know this is the burlap has to be flown into me from Sri Lanka or India or Bangkok. I can't remember. It's only grown in like 2 or 3 places of the world. But the burlap is 100% biodegradable. It leaves the earth better than the way it found it. It has UV protection already built inside of it. You can let it compost, and it absolutely has no effect on anything of your garden. In fact, on the earth, except for it doesn't leave any residues or garbage. You do want to be careful with burlap, though. I'll give you guys a hint, a trick here, is get yourself a little piece and light it on fire. If it doesn't just turn to ash and it actually starts to gnarl up, it means that it's woven with polyester fabric or some sort of plastic. Believe it or not, they've infiltrated even burlap. What you're going to have to do, though, is if you're doing container gardening and you're using burlap, is you're going to have to get chicken wire, or do like I do, get some chain link fence or any kind of animal fencing, and make yourself some little containers so you can line them with the burlap. This is what's going to keep the soil from falling through. Now, galvanized steel, also in my research, it is basically shot with a bunch of zinc, or dipped into heavy amounts of zinc, which penetrates into the metal and stops it from corroding. Unless you live by the ocean, the ocean will just eat through that stuff like nobody's business. But in your inland, wherever you are in the world, the zinc will eventually start to come off in little tiny increments. But as they say, it's good for the soil. They use it for agriculture, and it doesn't pollute a lot it's not a significant amount to be toxic at all. They're actually saying it's contributing to zinc, which zinc helps with powdery mildew if you have that sort of problem in your garden. So I thought that might be something. And wood chips. We have tons of trees, and as I said, you guys, the people have green waste. I do not understand why they're getting rid of stuff from their homes. Like, haul this green magic gold stuff away from my home. Get it away from me, right? Then I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to buy myself some compost or some wood chips for, you know, absorbent amount of prices when you have everything that you need really in your home or in your neighborhood, and we could just recycle these things. We're actually growing stuff. You're growing grasses and trees that we can use to put wood chips in our planters and make all kinds of wonderful goodiness, such as compost and stuff. So, yeah. A lot of you guys don't know, go down to, they recycle paint. If you own a home or you own a business, go down, you can actually get paint for free. It's recyclable. It always comes out as gray because they'll take red, brown, black, everything, and they'll just dump all this paint in this big giant vat. They'll mix it all up. There's the fire department, or just look for a place wherever you're at. I'll make it short. Look for free paint dumping, right? Recycling paint, whatever. And you'll go to these places. You can literally pick up stuff from the last time I checked, paint for free. Come on, guys. That is pretty awesome. You can make money for free, have free paint, or you can paint your house for life. You can just keep getting free paint. It's going to be gray, but hey. All right. Car parts. I do my own mechanics, and I'm not sure, I didn't know till, about 4 or 5 years ago that they actually recycle the filters that you use, like your fuel filters, your oil filters, basically. A lot of these parts that you have to change out from your car, they literally recycle these things. So instead of throwing them in the trash, an oil filter that's saturated full of crude oil and leaching into the ground, let's give it back to, I have no idea what happens after that, how they recycle what they do. But they do something with it. Guys, your fuel filters, your oil filters, any kind of those parts in your car, even the batteries, I forgot to mention too, from like your phones. Phones are recyclable. I saw this at the hardware store, I think Home Depot or Lowe's. Light bulbs, CFLs, we should not be using CFLs. They're completely toxic and they are not environmentally friendly, but you can take and recycle your light bulbs and stuff. So we should recycle as many things as possible, including our car parts. How are we doing on time? 21 minutes. All right. There's a plastic, food scraps. I almost passed one up. Food scraps. You can, like I said, this is a resource, guys. Just go bury it in the ground. I actually am going to start doing this on the garden site. I have a spin farm, right? I own my own piece of property. I go grow my food on somebody else's property in exchange for paying the water bill and giving them food. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to dig me a couple of trenches, and I'm just going to fill up a 5-gallon bucket, since I show up to my farm only once a week on Fridays. And what I'm going to do is do what I've been preaching, is just take all my banana peels, my seeds and everything, just dump it all inside of this, I'm going to dig down about maybe a foot, or as deep as I can go, probably about at the minimum 6 inches. I'm going to dump all this garbage, and then I'm just going to lay dirt on top of it. And what's going to happen is this stuff's going to compost, and I'm actually going to be building the soil and even get sprouts up, probably get free, like tomato bush volunteers, basically. Guys, utilize your food scraps, build soil, and you will actually find that you'll start getting free food out of recycling your food scraps. Chickens, if you got chickens, give them, or pigs, even better, we'll eat everything. Goats, chickens, ducks. One of the cool things that I just found was a plastic molding machine. This was about 2 years ago, and it's basically, this could be a business for anybody. You basically buy this machine, and what it does is it melts down plastic. So this is designed to set up in your garage. I'm going to imagine that it has some sort of vent stack that needs to go for it. I don't know what the smell is going to smell like, but they give you full-blown instruction. This inventor made it, and basically you can start your own business for free. Buy this machine, and what you're going to go do is don't get in trouble like I did when I was younger. Go to the recycling bins where people set all the stuff up for the recycling company to come get, or set up your own bin for these people and tell them what you're doing. And what you're going to do is you're going to melt down soda bottles, anything plastic. You're going to separate them, and then what you're going to do is you're going to make little spinning tops. You're going to make clipboards, earrings. They have these molds that basically, when you melt down the plastic, you can literally make stuff to actually sell. Now, I know a family I did a roof for years ago. These guys are millionaires, guys, and that's what they do. They get plastic, they recycle, they bring the stuff in, they melt it down. They have this machine, and it turns it into little pebbles. It looks like rice, and they got different grades of this plastic. Well, they bottle this all up, they box it up rather, in plastic, of course, and then they were shipping it to China, and China takes that plastic, right, the plastic rice, basically, is what it looks like. It's not rice, but it's just condensed processed plastic. They dump that in their machine, which melts it, and then they use that for computer parts or building car parts or whatever have you, all kinds of stuff, and then they sell it back to us. Kind of funny, huh? We should be manufacturing stuff, but that's just my opinion. Guys, I've already went way over. I still haven't even, oh my goodness. I've got probably like 40, 50 more notes over here. And yeah, I think I want to know if you guys want me to keep going on stuff like this. This is just kind of throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. I love this kind of thing because this is how I live, and I'm really trying to find other people that feel similar. So if you do and you want to hear more stuff like this, please comment below, right? But actually, here's the outro. All right, guys, that's the show. I want to thank you guys, each and every one of you, for taking the time out and being here today. And if you guys can, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. If you did give me a thumbs down, please let me know why. I love to hear all your guys' opinions, but it really helps me out. That's all I'm asking, is if you guys like and share, comment on the show. It helps the algorithms for this show to get known. That's what's going to keep the lights on around here. So guys, there's an email down below in the description. If you guys want to make any comments, just say hello, give any suggestions. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. And human up, my friends.